In this video, I'm going to talk about non-compete agreements and contingency agreements and my take on it. Yesterday, I made a post that non-compete and contingency agreements are the most naive and the biggest waste of paper in business. And I want to explain to you. Both agreements are very, very popular in the roofing industry, and I absolutely hate them. Hate them with passion. I see a lot of roofers are doing them, and I consult people who are doing anywhere from $1 to $5 million and trying to grow their businesses. The dynamic changes a little bit. Once you go to 50, 60, $100 million, it's a different business, different legal teams, and your agreements have to be in place at those levels. But still, even at those levels, if you build your business models on contingency agreements and non-competes, here's what you're going to be dealing with. And this is how I explain everything. What I would do, and I look at the macro effect on the business. And if you're the business owner, if you just started, let's say, a roofing company, you're trying to figure out, do you need contingency agreement? Do you need non-compete? I want you to ask yourself this question. Will you go after a sales rep if he quits working for you? So that's question number one that you have to answer. Look at a guy in the mirror and say, if I hire someone and they quit on me, what's going to happen? Because what I see is we have this mentality in business that we often forget the slavery years are long gone. We don't enslave people. For many, many years, centuries, slavery is prohibited. But in business world, we still have this mentality that if I hire someone, they owe it to me. They have to work for me for years to come, and they cannot just quit, and they have to follow all of these rules. And listen, the reason I don't like non-competes is because I know that if I'm a good leader, if I'm a good business owner, and if I provide awesome opportunity to someone, people will never want to leave. But if I suck, if I'm a bad leader by any merits, and someone offers something better to my potential employees, my sales reps, they're gonna quit. And the question you really want to ask yourself is, are you gonna declare the war on everybody who ever worked for you and quit, start their business? I mean, there's exception to every rule, and I have taken sales reps to court. I have one guy who quit working for me and started his own business, but he stole a lot of leads from me, took him to court, still to this day have judgment against him. So it can be done and it should be done. And I'm not saying that you cannot do it, but I was able to do it without non-compete agreement. Like, I did not care that he started his business, but he stole from me my leads. You can go after people, but you don't need non-compete. So the whole idea of non-compete, because you hire someone, for me, it's a slavery concept. You hire people, it's more like a partnership because you agreed to do something for some time. They come to work for you to make money. You're leading them to build your future, your company future, and hopefully their future. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't work out. The better question to ask is, how do you separate? When you go in business with someone, you have to ask yourself, if this is not gonna work out, how are we gonna split? For that reason, I think that non-competes are naive, very, very hard to enforce, comment below if you agree. I have seen people try to enforce them, but to sue someone because they quit working for you, it's just not energy I want to spend in business. There's a time where in some businesses that you kind of have to implement them. Like, for example, if you would be in something, with the patents, like let's say you're engineer technology, like you're building planes or iPhones, like softwares, like in that sense, like if you invest in people's education and you have labs and millions of dollars in research, yeah, maybe you should have non-compete that your engineer cannot go help your competition to do the same thing. But still, it'll be challenging to sue and prosecute someone like that. But overall, I understand how it feels to lose an employee to a competition, or when your employer goes and starts their own business. It's always hard, but we all have that shelf life. Employees, and I hate how it sounds, but employees have a shelf life. I mean, in the roofing industry, salespeople rarely stay longer than 5 years in sales. I mean, and think about that. Office people usually there for 1 or 2 years. So you do have a shelf life, and At the end of the day, it's your business. People come and people go. You don't have to go after them. Think about McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or any fast food store. It's a good school for people, but to learn the customer service and stuff. But local McDonald's or local restaurant will go through so many people, and you might be coming back there every 2 years, and every 2 years there's going to be new people working there. But establishment, the place is still there. Same with your banks. Every time I come to Wells Fargo, because I don't come inside a bank very often, there's new tellers, there's new people, sometimes new managers, but the building is still there. So you focus on building your business. People will come and people will go. Your business should not be going after everybody's business, despite the fact that they promised you to stay with you. You felt betrayed. Non-compete is not going to save you. And the second one is contingency. Contingency, to me, it's even worse. So contingency agreements is pretty much desire to hire someone. It's commitment, right? So you, in the storm restoration industry, you're telling the homeowner that they have a damage, and if they sign this piece of paper, you will help them to get money from insurance company. They're going to get paid. They hire you. They promise you that you're going to be their contractor, and then they sign it. Worst case scenario, they change their mind. Something happened. Maybe you did not do your work selling your brand, did not build the trust. I don't know what happened, but if your homeowner wants to cancel, it sucks every single time. But now you remember that you signed that piece of paper and now they owe you money. So ask yourself this: what's reasonable amount for that initial estimate for signing that document? So you provided them inspection. You called insurance company. So let's say you spent 2-3 hours on their jobs. And here's the problem I see in the roofing industry. And I know it's going to be very controversial, and you're more than welcome to disagree with me in comments, and please do so, because I want to know who standing on the left or on the right of this discussion. So there's two popular opinions. One is, if homeowner change their mind and hire another contractor after they sign contingency agreement, that they have to pay cancellation fees. And I've seen cancellation fees as high as 25% of the contract. So if you knock at their door, went on their roof, called their insurance company and signed the job, and it's a $40,000 job, now you want to get paid $10,000 because you signed a contingency agreement and they cannot get out of that contract with you. So they're under the contract. You're going to fight them in court, probably go after them. They're going to pay you $10,000. And many roofers, many storm chasers will tell you that this is the right business model. This is how it should be done. Well, I don't agree with that. I think us as a contractors, we have to be reasonable. And I think that oftentimes we're the problem. We did not educate homeowners, and there's exception to every rule. Sometimes homeowners are greedy. They see that insurance check and they're like, ooh, I can pocket this money. So homeowners can be greedy too, but it's us contractors who have to educate that homeowner, who have to explain how the process works, who have to sell our value, not come off as a greedy or arrogant or whatever. I mean, there's a reason they want to cancel with you and go with someone else. And it's not always, if we're honest with ourselves, it's not always money. It's not always because another contractor wants to do cheaper. I've stolen, if you will, jobs from other contractors, not because I was cheaper, but because they trusted me more than trusted them. I literally have homeowners call me and say, hey, I signed this and I don't trust this guy anymore. I don't want to do business with him. I've seen reviews. I've looked at him online. So it does happen. So what do we do here? Where's the middle ground? I think personally that we should charge reasonably for our time, just like lawyers do, just like doctors do. Let's say you charge $250 an hour and it took you 3 hours, maybe 4 hours to get the deal signed. So charge them $1,000. One of the problems we have in the industry is unreasonable billing from public adjusters, contractors, engineers, and who knows who else. Remember Anthony, the public adjuster guy? That's his business model. I want you to think about what he's doing. He's doing an exactly identical thing except he's a public adjuster and roofers, storm chasers hate him, but we do the same thing with contingency agreements. So here's what he's doing. So he's taking a claim, let's say from $10,000 to $20,000, and he claims that he increased the value of the claim. Now it's $20,000, but his fees are 35%. So now he's going to charge that homeowner 35% on the $20,000. That's a lot of money. It's $7,000. The homeowner is getting $13,000. Yes, it's more than 10, but it's not enough to do the job. So every time we charge unreasonably fees, so we have to stop thinking about insurance money as milking cow, that there's always more, like, and it's unlimited, because it's greed on both ends, on all ends. It's greed by homeowners, it's greed by contractors, it's greed by public adjusters. We all think that this money pot, it's never gonna end. It will end, and we are ruining our industry with our unreasonable fees. So now, the same deal with contingency agreements by contractors. So if you lost a deal, but you still can get $1,000 for 4 hours of your work, that's reasonable. But 25% for that 1 or 2 appointments, few phone calls, you call that reasonable? I can't. Comment below if you think it's reasonable or unreasonable. Because if we think that we deserve it, how do you justify it? What's so special about you and your so-called expertise that you're doing that 500 other roofers couldn't do? Because here's what's going to happen. Here's how you ruin your reputation. And this is how I always kind of like step back and think, like, what would people think? What would audience think? So think about if you get in the national news as a contractor who sued the homeowner for canceling contracts. So let's say you go in front of big audience of potential homeowners, of people in general, and people say, well, he spent 3 hours and now he wants $10,000, 25% of $40,000 roof, and he's suing us for it. What do you think people in the audience will say? If news will come and investigate that story, do the interview with the homeowner, do the interview with the insurance company. Let's say it breaks out into this public fight and everybody's eyes are on you. Can you justify your actions? And I know what you're going to say. I know the argument. Well, but my expertise, like, listen, your expertise is just like everybody else's expertise. You're not the Jesus Christ, the Savior. You're not the only one who could approve the job. 500 other contractors could do. And not many of them would feel the right to charge 25% if they lose the job. I'm just saying, the way I like to do business is based on honesty and integrity and be the most reasonable player in the marketplace. This is what we do at Directorii when we recommend contractors. That's what we do in the roofing business school when we teach roofers. When you do the right thing every single time, your reputation grows. When you always think about what's reasonable for consumers, yes, it's hard. It's hard to lose the job to someone, but you have to learn the lesson. Why did you lose that job? Instead of becoming vindictive against that homeowner, going after them just because you can. Can you charge 25% legally? Probably yes. But is it always the right business decision? Usually no. It's usually bad. It's a bad look on a reputation when you go after your employees for quitting on you. It's usually a bad look when you go after homeowners canceling you or charging unreasonable fees. So try to be reasonable. And if somehow homeowners watch this video, if you're looking for the contractor, we have a platform that we have built when we recommend trustworthy contractors who are reasonable. It's called Directorii.com. On Directorii, you can find contractors, and if you have disputes like that, let's say you want to cancel with one of our contractors and he wants to sue you, we're going to investigate, we're going to see what's going on, and we're going to settle that dispute for you on your behalf up to $20,000. So maybe you did cancel a contract with one of our contractors, we will deal with him. We will talk with him, and if we have to pay out, we will pay out so you don't have to lose money. So this is what Directory does for the homeowners. Check it out. But contractors, please engage and comment below if you think it's reasonable to, number one, have contingency agreement and lock your homeowners with a strong arm into doing business with you so they cannot cancel. And again, the way I always personally have done business is I do business where you want to do business with me. And I feel like if I have to threat you with something for canceling, then my value proposition was not good enough. And number two, what do you think about non-competes? Comment below. I read all of my comments, and this is one of those videos where it truly matters because it's a business debate, and it helps me understand where the industry is heading. Who do we have more? People who are for non-competes and contingency agreements or who are against? Vote in comments. I'll see you guys in the next video.